Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander Tactical. Now, it's no secret that I'm a huge gear fan, but outside of gear, I'm also a massive nerd when it comes to concealment and ghillie suits. Now, I say nerd, you know, it's something that over the last few years I've just embraced, and I'm just incredibly fascinated about and want to learn more about. The art of concealing yourself, certain traits that you can give away without concealment, the silhouette of the human head and shoulders, with that being extremely easy for other humans to be able to notice, and certain animals as well can also pick up that same silhouette. And it's absolutely something that is incredibly fascinating to me. So what I thought today, we go through is the first ghillie that I bought. So this is from Novritsch. This is one of their Novritsch shoulder pieces. Now they do several versions, I guess, of the different styles. Well, I say several. There's a few different versions that they've got. This is one of the original ones. I think it's actually a Mark II, kind of. But they have recently just released a newer version of their full suit. But this is the actual shoulder piece itself. The full suit does have a front panel that you can either detach part way if you've got gear that you're carrying underneath here, whereas the shoulder piece is a little bit more kind of akin to those Cobra hoods. Now, just to give you some kind of extra details about the suit itself, I say suit, about the shoulder piece itself. I'm just going to take this off and turn it inside out so that you can see the inside of it here. So this is constructed from a mesh. Now, all of the mesh that's on this, I will say, is incredibly tough, very durable. Compared to a few others, I'm just thinking like the Stalker one, for example. Now this isn't to kind of say that the Stalker one isn't good. This one just feels, it's just a lot more malleable. It just kind of drapes itself over you, whereas some of the other ones I find, because they've gone as tough as they possibly can do with the mesh, that it's just not as kind of flowing over you. I find this one is perfect for that. The mesh itself, as you know, as I just mentioned, is very tough, but you're able to pass through. So on the outside, hopefully you'll see, this is completely crafted by myself. This was the first one that I ever crafted, but sorry, I keep knocking the tripod there. The holes are wide enough so that you can pass through this jute to be able to tie it onto these. Now I know some of you, well, that's just silly. Why didn't you just use this, that, and the other? It's easier to undo. I know. There were some things that I learned in the process of making this that I realised just took me way too long. The way that I got all of this fibre through here was with an opened out paper clip that I then bent so that I could then get all of this, fold it in half, pass the paper clip through it, stitch it back through again, pull it through, and then just kind of pull through here. It does mean that I can completely undo this if I wanted to, but I think one of the things that I also learned when it came to ghillie crafting is the fact that it is a continuous process. This has adapted and changed quite a lot since when I first made it. I've actually took a lot of stuff off it because it just wasn't needed. But yes, the mesh on this is very, very tough. All of the edges have a nice seam on there, so there's less chance of this being able to fray. Actually, I'll put it on in a second, but I will say that where you get down onto the wrists, so it does have a 3D material on here. So if I turn this over so that you can see the bottom here, because I've done less to the bottom. So these are available in several different colours. When I first picked this up, I think there was only, say, 2 or 3 different colours. This is the amber version. There's a farmer just in his field over there, so I do apologise if you can hear a tractor noise. But hopefully, as you can see, there are some 3D there are 3D leaves on this, but there are quite a few different versions. Now I'll say the leaves on here are all great. So these are the ones that really haven't had much of a bashing, whereas when you get down onto the wrist, so where are we now? So that is my hand that I use the most. You'll probably see that these have started to fray quite a bit. That's from climbing through bushes, that's through a lot of different things. It's mainly down to my gloves. So the gloves generally have your Velcro on there. These get stuck on the Velcro quite a lot, and you'll find that you'll be pulling them off. Every time you pull them off, they fray like this, which some of you, if you like to keep your kit nice and clean, then you know that might find that annoying, but at the end of the day, it's a ghillie suit. It's designed to get dirty. Also, if we're breaking up lines, it's good that it does that anyway. But yes, you will find that will happen. But around the wrists, you also have some cinching points here, which I let just kind of dangle around. Some of you might say, well, people might notice that. I mean, you're right. If they're close enough to notice this, then, I mean, well, they're close enough to notice that. But there's the same on the other wrist here as well. I will put this on in a second, which we'll have a look at how how this affixes, but there is something important to note with this, and that is that this was designed as two parts. So I'm just undoing this for now. You have the shoulder piece, which is the bit that I have all of my bits attached to, and then there's also a separate hood which is this part. On the inside of the hood you have these really nice tough press studs, which are great, and I got this and I was like, brilliant, okay, where does this connect? It doesn't connect anywhere to it. That is because this is designed to work solely with the larger jacket, which is a bummer, but you can easily fix this. The way that I did this, a little bit of field craft on here. I took some 550 paracord, looped it over, and then stitched it on to one side and then the other side. And then where the shoulder piece is, I then found the, where am I going? I then found the largest buttons that I could find, and I stitched these on exactly where I wanted them. So if I put this back on here now, then we're on. Now, you're probably thinking maybe I should have put one in the middle. I probably should have done, but I will say that in the time that I have had this, I've never had it kind of fall off or pull away. So as that classic shoulder cobra kind of piece, you pull it on, it covers your arms. Now I will say, so with this version, you always get stuff stuck to you. It does come down closer to your wrists. So a more of a classic cobra hood, you tend to find that it would stop either at your elbow or partially down your forearm. With this one, it does come down that extra little bit further. I think mainly the idea behind that is because this is for airsoft, and your distances generally in airsoft are, a hell of a lot closer. If there's more of you covered, then it's more kind of concealment for you. And then you have two buckles on the front. The two buckles here, I believe they are no-name buckles. Some of you like to know, is it Woojin or is it whatever, but yeah, these are just kind of no-name buckles. But they fit just kind of here on your sternum, which does leave ample room. So if you're wearing a chest rig or something that you have on the front so that you can carry your ammunition on here, pistol rounds, whatever it is that you're carrying, then you have full access to that. The other version that Novritsch does is, so at least the newest version is kind of an amalgamation of a cobra hood and a full jacket. So there is a section here on the front that can be removed so that you get greater access, or you can keep it on there if you just, you don't have anything there and you carry everything on your waist. So then to lift the hood up, I've actually got two hoods today, but lift this up, and then and then we're in. Now there is just a little bit of jostling, mainly because, as I mentioned, so the two buttons are here and here. There isn't actually a button on the back, but once it's on and I just give it a bit of a tap like that, hopefully you can see it just kind of meshes together with the materials that are on here. Now the materials that I've got, there's actually a few different ones on here. I do have some of these leaves. These are from Novritsch themselves. They're great. I used to have them all over this when I was like, yeah, let's get some leaves on it. And yeah, you know, I took quite a lot off. Here on the forest floor there's plenty of grass and the odd leaf that's kind of thrown in here or there. I'm a little bit lazy with this one, I will say. You know, I don't really tailor this or change this much, whether it's the winter or the summer, mainly because a lot of the green grass that we have around here still kind of has a autumny feel to it in the winter, in the summer as well. So that I find the collection of colours that I have on this still work particularly well. But I have some brown leaves and I have some green leaves. The synthetic jute that's on here is from Tex. This one's just kind of doing my nut in. Let's pull this one back over my head. This is from Tex. They do, I think there's either 5 or 6 different coloured strands, so depending on your local environment, or depending if there are 2 or 3 environments that you play within, you could probably find a match that's good for all of them. And then when you're at your local place, you know, find local vegetation, and there are loops throughout this. So on the hood, on the actual top itself here, so you can pass these into here. And they're great. Generally try to keep those flat, and then through the back section as well there are lots of elasticated loops in there as well, which you can also put lots of stuff through. Some of the other things that I've got on here, this is kind of that kind of phantom leaf stuff. I forget what it's called, but I also got this from Novritsch as well. This I'm right-handed, so this is the arm that I lift up when I'm firing. So I find I've just put a little bit more on here, mainly because it helps also to conceal the buttstock of the rifle that I'm using at the time as well. But as I say, so this has definitely grown over the years. There's bits that I've took off. Mainly there's bits that I've took off. I spent a lot of time adding to this. I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I probably will mention it several times while I'm doing this, but that kind of ghillie crafting process for me is a continuous thing. I've been doing this now for about 3 years. However, I certainly don't, I still see myself as an amateur. There may be people out there that would, and I graciously accept any sort of advice that you may want to give on this. Now what I also have is, just off here, is I use one of these balaclavas. Now I picked this up from Stalker, so this gives me a little bit more coverage on the face. This is where the camera absolutely loses me now, and then I'll still pull this up to make sure again that it breaks up some of those lines on the face. I do have quite a strong line here, so what I'd probably do is just kind of pull this around a bit, and then if needs be pull some down around the face as well, which again still allows me some coverage. And the actual balaclava has a bib on the bottom of it which you can tuck in and then be able to pull through like this. One of the best things to do if you are crafting your ghillie for the first time, and what a lot of people will always recommend this, is just bring it out to where you would normally be. Throw it in and around things and see how well it blurs in. Now you will see it's a little bit light for this, but what I would definitely do is take some of this bracken, take some of these ferns, and just kind of mix these in with it. I think that's possibly one of the better ones there. You can see that the browns might need to add a little bit more green to this. Now while I'm doing this, as far as washing instructions is concerned, you know, I generally don't wash this unless it's been a particularly filthy day, and then I'll take it home and I'll literally just wash it with water. I won't use any strong detergents or anything like that, mainly because well, you need to keep some of that colour. You need to keep some of that colour in there. If you can get some of those dirty browns, it will dirten up your stuff. It certainly helps to take away some, or at least add some natural colour back into it. Probably washed it a little bit too much last time, but let's have a look at me actually out in the woods. So there you have it. Apart from the ox red gloves, which ox blood gloves, hopefully you won't have seen me too much out there. But again, you know, I think once you get into this kind of concealment stuff and making your own, or at least building your own around, because generally what you'll tend to find is whatever the ghillie, whatever the type of ghillie that you pick up, whether it's a full jacket, whether it's a cobra hood, or you know, whatever part it is, generally there is some customization that you need to do to it. Have a look at your local environment, have a look at the environment that you play in a lot, and just have some fun building it. You will get some things wrong. There's some great communities out there as well. Highly recommend getting yourself on somewhere like Facebook. There's some absolutely amazing communities out there that will give you some brilliant advice. There's very few trolls, I find, within the ghillie crafting community. But yeah, if there's one piece of advice, definitely get yourself on Facebook and join some of the ghillie crafting communities. But yeah, so this is, as I mentioned, this was the first ghillie suit that I bought, the first ghillie that I crafted. So it holds a bit of a special place for me. However, I do have a few others which, you know, I'll bring some content out in the future. Now, of course, I'll leave some links below if you want to see more from Novritsch and where you can pick one of these up. I'll also leave some of my social media links as well here on Moorlander Tactical, and also my sister channel, Moorlander EDC. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay tactical. Stay hidden. Skibbity gip 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 skibbity boop skibbity 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 boop 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 skibbity boop boop boop. Wildlife photography, stalking animals, all of that sort of stuff. Be great for any of those. Just not people. Unless you're in an airsoft field. I think that's acceptable to stalk people. One of the best things about a ghillie is when you're putting it away. So everybody laughs at this, but this was one of my daughter's pillowcases. Put it in there, wrap it up, fits pretty much into anything. Not compared to some of your other gear that takes up far too much room. It's coming out today, it's my birthday today, so I came out to the woods. I booked the day off to come out into the woods and filming stuff here for Moorlander Tactical and also for Moorlander EDC. If you can't take your day off for your birthday, then there's just something wrong with that, isn't there? So yeah, happy birthday, and also happy Groundhog Day. It's also Groundhog Day today. I'm predicting an early summer. Yeah,